This is the video review of Lion from LDCX Supertrain robot, which is by the Chinese company Ling. Here's a comparison of the three different train sizes. So this guy's made of a single train, this one's made of 3, and he's made of 2. And here's a general size comparison. Now in just general comparison, Tiger and Wolf have the same kind of color scheme of white and blue, but you can really see the difference in the aesthetics from the single train robot. He looks very basic. Compared to Lion, which is made of 2 trains, he looks a lot more complicated and interesting. So I think the bigger size is definitely better than these smaller robots. And the head of Lion is really good. To me, it kind of has a police robot vibe, which I really like. And I thought this train would be the main character of the series, but he's actually not. But he's got a very heroic look to him. And I really like the yellow translucent pieces, give him a lot more interest in the colors. So overall, he's a really good looking robot. I would say it's probably something like a 7 for me. There's some definitely missed opportunities. Like one of the things I do with these figures is I push up the biceps so that they have better proportions, and I don't push out the hips. So I'll show you what that looks like in a second. I think one thing that would have made this robot look a lot better is if the arms, instead of being positioned so low, had actually been positioned here. I think that would have looked much better for his aesthetic. So that's unfortunate that they put the arm position down here instead. So I might try to fix that on my own. Maybe I'll customize that because I think that'll improve his look. So that difference would be basically from here, I think is a good proportions, to here, which are his default not so good looking proportions. So I'll transform him correctly so you can see what his default proportions look like. And then we'll pop out his hips. And he looks more like this, which is even a little bit more lanky and makes him look a little more blocky, especially the arms are just entirely too long for my taste. But what do you guys think? And it would also be nice if this figure had some accessories just to set him apart more from the other figures, give him some personality, but that's all he comes with. So far as articulation, he has the same articulation as the other robots. He's got full outward motion on the shoulder, and then he has 360 degrees on a nice ratchet joint. He's got bicep swivel, which is kind of underneath the elbow, and the elbow can be straightened out, but it kind of breaks the sculpt. And then it's got more than 90 degrees. So he's got great articulation on the arms. He's got nothing on the head, no waist. The hips do have kind of a kick, but it's on a really soft joint, and that's one of the issues I have with the figure is his legs tend to spread when it'd be good if he had a more solid A stance. And then he does have a knee joint, which goes back almost 90 degrees, but it's kind of pointless because his leg doesn't kick forward or backward, so you can't really use that knee joint at all. And then he's also got ankle pivots, which are very nice and useful. And that's it for his articulation. Transforming this figure is really simple, but it does involve some parts forming. So you do have to tear off the arms. There's no way around that. And then you just pivot the fists down. And then you just fold the forearm section into the shoulder section to get yourself the front and back of the train. You do the same thing for the other arm. So that is the parts forming segment. You can transform the rest of the body without parts forming. So he has this gimmick where his head is spring loaded, and then when you push in the chest, that does pop out his head, which is a nice gimmick. And then you put this fake chest above his head, and then you wrap the front of the train section over there. And then you're going to collapse the hips and orient the skirts so the wheels are down. And then this part can be tricky without popping out the ball joints. Okay, so you compress the hips, and then you click the legs together, point the toes downward, and push the heels in. And then you're going to fold these giant leg slabs over to cover up the rest of the train. And there you have most of the train, and then this section you're just going to compress, which is his torso midsection. And there you have most of the train already. And now you have to reattach those arm sections. And that's the entirety of the train. So really good looking bullet train. On one side it is nice and clean, but the other side you do end up with screw holes. And then it does look pretty realistic. I do like these vehicle modes. They are an 8. They're very clean and interesting looking. And then you can replace this with a jointed section. And this allows the train to turn, but it does sacrifice a lot of the realism. And one missed opportunity with this set is that you can't really put all the trains together because there's no link at the front or rears of the trains. So you can't connect any other trains. So that was a pretty big missed opportunity. But you do have the interesting gimmick where you can put the legs and torso of different robots together just by connecting their trains. So you have basically a new train combination. Which I think is a pretty cool gimmick. I don't think it was really intentional, but it is there. So then you pop off the arms from the front and rear of the train. And then you can see you're going to have now the torso of Lion and the legs of Dragon on the bottom. And on this train, it'll make the torso of Red Dragon and the legs of Tiger or Lion on the bottom. All right, and then when you fully transform them, you get kind of these combinations. And you can see what I was talking about. I have his hips extended here and his arms, his biceps all the way out, versus this mode where I kind of shorten everything up and make it a little more sleek. So overall, I think the gimmick is really great. The limb swapping is pretty natural, like more than Shinkalian. And I would say just for the fun of these figures, they're pretty simple. They do what you want. They're fun to play with. What you see is what you get. I would say it's probably an 8 for the fun factor. And for quality, the plastic is definitely an 8. It's pretty solid. It's something you could definitely give to a kid, especially a kid that likes trains, and they would really enjoy it. So I got mine on Sirtoys, and I'll put the link in the description.